Welcome, check this Virgin Celebration Q&A with the CEO Nirmal Saverimuttu and the COO Michelle Bentubo.
Hi everybody.
Hi.
I'm with Michelle Bentubo, who's going to be on stage in just a second, and Nirmal. And we're like, who's going to be silly enough to show up at 9:30 on the first day of the voyage after the PJ party?
Woo!
So I just want to say thank you. And when you leave here, if you could just say, God, the room is so full, we couldn't get in. And that, the CEO's all right, and the CEO is pretty cool, but boy, that Nathan's amazing. My name is Nathan, I'm the Chief Marketing and Brand Officer. So when any of you are in the groups and you criticize the marketing work, that's me and my team, so thank you very much for that. I've got all your mean tweets, I've seen them all. We have some Virgin Australia people here, so if you could just make sure that you put your tray table back in its upright position. Did anyone sail with us in Australia last year? Well, of course you did, I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway, the other thing is, we're going to do a little bit of sort of Q&A session. There is some questions that I've prepared. I was around the ship last night, I talked to crew and I talked to some of our sailors. Now, here's the thing when you're traveling around with Nirmal. He's a bit of a celebrity now. We like to call him out Richard Branson, basically, because Richard's quite busy saving the world. So we use Nirmal as ours, but it's like you cannot get anywhere on time when you're with him. And it used to be just crew. You'd walk through the crew areas and it'd be like, oh, can we get a photo? No, can we get a photo? It's actually kind of annoying, I'll be honest with you, because he's not that cool. No, seriously. And you're walking through and it's photo after photo. And then yesterday we're on the ship and I'm with our head of PR, Michelle, who's over there, and she's sort of dragging Nirmal between events. And then sailors are asking for photos, and I went, no, this cannot happen. So I just need you to do me a favor. If you see him, just ignore him. Don't ask questions and pretend, and even just say, no, sorry, I'm in a hurry, I've got to keep going. And then the final thing before I actually get credibly started, because our experienced team will get mad at me for running over time. I wasn't sure what style to bring today to this, because I'm the Q&A host, so I was thinking, do I go full Oprah? Which is really deep and meaningful questions and empathy, lots of empathy. Do I do Phil Donahue, where I actually ask for callers? And then he died this week, so that was very sad. Or do I go Wendy Williams? Probably shouldn't do that, should I? Anyway, first of all, let's bring up our Chief Operating Officer, who also worked at Disney and Bank of America. Yes, she was a banker, Michelle. And the thing that we love about Michelle is she is one of the, not that we like to talk about crazy things, but Michelle is actually one of the first female leaders globally who runs a marine and tech department as part of her organization. So, women taking control of ships. Yeah. And then also, Nirmal, you are here somewhere, aren't you? Or did you walk out because I upset you? Oh no, here he is, Nirmal, our CEO. Welcome up, welcome up. Yeah, the thing is, performance reviews are coming up in October. So when you get your surveys, if you could just say, God, that Nathan was good. Thank you. Oh, welcome to both of you. So we want to say, actually, who did go to the PJ party last night? Is anyone still in the same clothes as last night? All right, good.
Well, wait, if you're doing Oprah, what does that mean? I think they all thought something when you said I'm doing Oprah.
We did.
You get a free glass of water, and you get a free glass of water.
You get Wi-Fi included. You get Wi-Fi included.
Yes.
And you can have dinner at the wake included.
That's a tougher one, as you know.
Yeah, okay, right. Anyway, so welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Now, we've worked together a very long time, so I'm going to pretend we don't know each other very well and ask some basic questions. So, Michelle, first we'll go to you. Holy macaroni, how long have you been at Virgin Voyages, and what do you do, and why are you here?
Why am I here? Why am I here? I'm here for everybody that's in this room, and more importantly, everybody that's on the ship. Really, it's the crew for us. But I've been here a little over 8 years now. So as Nathan said, I Disney Cruise Line many years ago, then spent a little bit of time being a banker. Learned really quick that's not where I wanted to retire from. So I was grateful when I got the call to come here. So joined here in 2016, and it's been an amazing ride. Back when we were trying to figure out what these ships were even going to look like, what the experience was going to be, not just for sailors, but really what the experience for our crew was going to be, and how we made this a place they want to be. So
it's funny, you worked at Disney, it's almost like coming to Virgin Voyages. It's the ultimate rejection of Disney, isn't it? The most extreme you can go from one end of the scale to the other.
It's true. Chicken nuggets were the big thing back in the day.
Chicken nuggets are not terrible, just so we're clear. Depending on the dipping sauce. Right, Nirmal, now here's the thing. Nirmal has been around the Virgin Group forever. He's also the one whenever there's an idea that comes from Richard that gets the call, and you can just see his face from the call. Hi Richard, yeah, that's a good idea. So tell us a little bit about your background now.
It's a good idea. You're the one with the face.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, what does he want now? Anyway, no, tell us a bit about your background, because what you may also not know is that Nirmal is, and he doesn't like to talk about himself, so I get to do this about him. Before this was a real business, Nirmal was the one true believer inside of the Virgin Group that basically worked tirelessly from around 2011, 2012, I think, if I got it right, to convince not just a range of people who need to put money into big expensive ships, but who work closely with Richard to make this a reality. So as much as I don't like to say nice things to him, when I walk on the ship, I always remember the incredible effort you had in building this together. So I'd love you to kind of let people here know a bit more about your background.
Anything is a team effort, right? No one can do anything.
You have to say that, because
no, but it is true. I think what we've all created is a combination of a really diverse culture we've created, right? I think one of the things I'm most proud of, and it's a real Virgin trait, right, is you bring lots of different perspectives, lots of different opinions, and you find a way to collaborate. And that's what's actually been the magic of Virgin over the years. You think about why we've disrupted so many industries. It's being open to different ideas, being open to the Disney of the world ideas, the Bank of America ideas, maybe. But when we built the company, it was people who'd been at Virgin, people who'd been within the cruise industry, and people who'd been outside of all those two things, right? And then that was how could we come together and create. But that's what 17 years of Virgin have sort of taught me, and that was a lot of what we wanted to do. And as you know, Richard's wanted to create the cruise line for a long time, right? So I'm glad we finally got it done. And what makes me really proud is hearing him talk about how proud he is of this business. And you tell him how much you love the company, but one of the things that's most compelling, I think, is he talks about the culture we've created with the crew. And I know he is phenomenally proud of the business because of what we've done with our crew. And that, for me, when you ask about why we're here, honestly, for me, that I get my energy from being back on the ship, seeing our crew, letting them be themselves, and I think it's infectious, and I think that's why you all love the product so much as well. And so for me, that's why I'm here, and I tell our crew all the time, we're here building a company, and we're building an experience, and you don't get many times in your career to be able to kind of lay your brick in the foundation of a company. And no matter your role, however small your role is, however big your role is, you each get to lay that brick. Could be small, could be big, but we're all part of being able to do that. And our crew really love being part of that, and that's what makes it special being here. And actually, I would actually argue that our sailors are also a part of that, because we really have co-created the brand with our sailors. We've taken a lot of feedback from them. Michelle always tells me feedback is a gift. So we read your social forums, we see what you want, but we're not, I think as a brand, we're never afraid to admit we get stuff wrong, right? What can be improved? So I really feel like this brand has been co-created with our crew and our sailors, and that's why I think it is the product it is today.
What about you?
Oh.
Like we talk about,
I'm the interviewer. No. That's not how this works. There's a lot of discussion in America about politics, which we're not doing politics, but mute my mic immediately.
At the heart of what we do and what we've been doing over the years is really about the culture that we create, whether it is the experience we want to create for our sailors, or really the culture that is instilled in us that drives our purpose. But at the heart of that, I think it would be remiss if we didn't actually you tell a little bit about your background and why you're here, because you hold us together.
You're very kind. Well, I've worked with Virgin for 25 years. I've worked in 4 different businesses. I make the joke with Richard that I keep getting fired, and then I go and hide in another one before people find me. But I will say, and I want you to know, you experience life and vibe on board this ship, and I hope that you sense that energy when you walk on board. Because the one thing that we always say is that everybody's welcome here. We don't care who you are or what you do in your life, or how crazy life is. The intent of Virgin Voyages is always to create a place that you would go away and you would come back feeling better than when you left, and you would be set up to deal with the crazy shit we all have to deal with in life, because life is crazy. I have obviously one of the things I'll tell you is working with people. You know this in your own lives. It's the people around you that make things incredibly special. The crew here are pretty amazing, and I hope you feel that when you get, go to restaurants or whatever you do. But leadership matters. So you work with people that you believe have a good vision for the company and want to take it places. Nirmal's been our CEO for a year. Before that, he was our Chief Commercial and Experience Officer. All I'd say is that I've never worked anywhere, and Richard has instilled this principle across our 200 companies, our 75,000 employees worldwide. You bring yourself to work, and you be you. Because that in the end means that ultimately you can do great things for your customers. And so I just would never ever work anywhere else. And even if I got fired tomorrow because Nirmal thought I was doing a rubbish job, I'd probably just turn up on a ship somewhere working in extra virgin. Because the past is pretty good, let's be honest.
He's very good at the affogato card.
Actually, I do think I would be good at the affogato card, except for, you imagine this lady down here, she's like, "So Matt, would you like some affogato?" She goes, "Yes." I go, "On shots, chocolate or vanilla ice cream?" She goes, "I'll take the chocolate." And I go, "No, you'll have the vanilla." Trust me, the vanilla's better. Anyway, sorry, yes, no.
Whiskey crema is actually better.
But you didn't just work at Virgin Voyages. You've done other stuff at Virgin that gave you a foundation to kind of take that blank sheet of paper and work with Richard to create this. What else did you do before you started on Virgin Voyages?
Don't like talking about me. I was part of the team that helped do Virgin America, which was the airline we had here in North America.
Do we miss Virgin America?
We have a few ex-Virgin America people around here.
I'm fighting Southwest and you miss Virgin America, right?
Yeah, we have Virgin America. I was part of the team that helped do Virgin Hotels. And then Virgin Voyages. We had a few things that didn't quite work out. Richard has lots of ideas, obviously good ideas, always, but a few things that didn't quite work out. But yeah, mostly America, hotels. I actually do remember a funny story. I remember when Virgin America launched, Virgin America won Best Domestic Airline the first year it operated. Virgin Hotels, we opened a hotel in Chicago and we won Best Hotel, I think in that area of Chicago, the first year of operation. I remember actually saying to Nathan, "Oh shit." And when we started Virgin Voyages, we went, "Oh boy, what's going to happen here?" But then, thankfully, when we got up and running, we did win Travel and Leisure Best Ship, and we won Condé Nast Best Ship, so we actually made it. So
thanks to you,
thank you very much. Thanks to all of you. But yeah, it was a bit of a nervy moment because I didn't want that phone call from Richard and say, "So,
did you win that award yet?" So the other thing is, I think one of the principles that we all talk about as well is that you try your very hardest to make an experience amazing, but you don't always get it right. I just want to cast your minds back to when we launched in Australia last year, and on day one. If you remember how day one was, because we had a bit of a technical outage, and the boarding wasn't quite right. I'd just love you to kind of talk about that story, your experience with Richard, and how you both I will say what you both did and the way you kind of leaned in. Just talk about that moment for you, what it's like when you actually had a crisis to deal with, basically.
I can give two. Like, it was the start of the day, and then there was dinner with Richard that night after it. That sits in the mind as well. We don't always, I think the important part is, we don't always get it right. It's not because, and I hope everybody understands that, especially if you come back and you come back and you come back. It's not because we don't give a shit. Like, every single day, it is, how do we do this right? How do we make a difference? How do we make sure that somebody leaves here feeling that they've been delivered the promise that we made? But we were launching, we were very excited. We were in Australia for the very first time. We had just sailed to Melbourne because Melbourne, sorry for the Australians, Melbourne.
Or Melbourne.
We had done a travel agent. We get to Melbourne. We're really excited. The skies are opening up and it's raining. It's just perfect. And then we're operating in the terminal for the very first time. The systems don't come up to check in our wonderful sailors. So you hope, like you know it. It's not working. You've got a party coming, and your AC isn't working, and you're hoping you've got 60 minutes, and you've got 45 minutes, and you're like, you're hopeful. You're hopeful that AC's coming in, kind of gonna come on before your guests arrive, and it just made for a shit show. I mean, there was no other way. I mean, it was, and you rally the team, you call upstairs, and you let them know that's a shit show. And I think the most...
By the way, when she says call upstairs, it doesn't mean to like some office tower. No, she means upstairs, because no one was actually... No one was in the terminal packing bags for us for a gift. I was upstairs.
Oh, that's right. He was packing bags for the sailors that were coming on and the drops that we were going to be doing. Because you got to let them know. But I think the most important part of that was, one, no fear to own it, to say, listen, this isn't going right. It's the moment you say it to them, their first question is, what can I do? Where do you need me? Which is just amazing. And I think my answer was, bring blankets and come to the terminal. So we were our housekeeping team rallied up the blankets because it was cold. It's cold and rainy outside, and they are 300, 400, 500 deep outside, because the terminal doesn't hold them. And then I get the call that Richard's on his way to the gym. He's coming off the ship and going to the gym, and my heart sinks because he's going to have to walk by. He's going to drive by and it's a half mile to a 3/4 mile long drive to the gate, and people are lined up on it in the rain. We're trying to move them as fast as we can. We've got people out there talking, just apologizing, because that's all you can do at that point. There's nothing else I can do. When the skies are open and the systems aren't working and I don't have a building to put you in, the only thing I can do is beg forgiveness, in that moment, and do it genuinely, because we were like horrified. So we were walking the lines and doing that. And Richard drove out. He came out through the terminal. He got in his car and he was driving downtown to go to the gym, because he's very health conscious and fun. He likes to get a good workout. Doesn't matter where he's at. And then I get the call he's on his way back. Like, he drove by the people. He got to the center of town and never got out of the car and said, I can't. So we had the car drive him back to the very end of the line. And he got out of the car in the rain and started talking to people, all walking back to the terminal, but making sure that he spoke to every sailor who believed in us, like who trusted us with their vacation, gave us their money, believed in our promise, and he had such respect, and at that point empathy, that we weren't delivering on the promise, that he walked that line with Nirmal, because Nirmal was walking the other way, and they met, and we didn't get it right. It wasn't a good day. Hopefully that when they got on board, our shipboard team did what they did so well, and was able to make up for those 6 hours of crap. But the best we can do is apologize in that moment, because it's sincere. Hope that you realize that wasn't our best moment, and that we make up for it as we go, and that you come back again, and you believe in us to get it right. But really, it was the leadership that what can we do? That was it. Where do you want us?
There's a line that Nirmal uses, which I want you to sort of draw out a little bit, because again, we'll talk about things that are coming up and exciting things, but it's important that you understand the measure of how much we care about you and the things that go on. You use this line, which is, when things aren't great, we have to be great. And I love that as a principle. And how do you think about that?
Well, that was actually one of Richard's things, right? He says Virgin's at its best when things are at its worst, right? So yeah, no, I think it's what we train everyone to do, right? I mean, that was interesting. I was out there. I got on last, actually. I didn't want to get back on until the last sailor got on, so I was out there about 4 hours. And then actually Richard was walking off to leave, and then we had dinner that night, and I think he was very proud, actually. We turned a bad situation into a good situation. Things happen.
So let's tell some of our sailors about the very first early days, just so they understand, because you effectively had the chance with the team to rethink what you thought Virgin should do in cruising. What was really important, and these people who have experienced it and love to come back, what was important to you to deliver, and then we can check if they agree that you did it?
I don't know if we had something important to live. I think we had to work out how to bring the Virgin brand to life in cruising, and it's the biggest endeavor. I mean, Galactic is a big endeavor, but it's much more technology, right? Can I get the technology right to do that? This is less about technology. It's more about how do I create an experience that's so big and bigger than Virgin's ever done before. I mean, we have to create an F&B experience, an entertainment experience, a service experience at scale that we've never done before. And so that was always a challenge of how to do that, and how to map that Virgin culture into what's historically been a very hierarchical, very command and control-like ship operating environment, which is typically what we're not. We don't have captains that wear stripes. I know Captain Niksha's up there right now. He doesn't wear stripes.
Who's driving the ship?
But we'll talk about leadership in a little bit. So there was all these things of how do we do that? If we say we're not going to have a captain wear stripes, how do we do all those things? And so, we did typically what we do with Virgin. We are very end-to-end journey focused. So we actually mapped out all aspects of the customer journey. I think we mapped out 300 different touch points. And then we focused on what are the areas that we believe we need to excel, what are the areas that we believe are just brilliant basics that we just need to be as good as everybody else. And I think that's the secret to this Virgin formula for how we've been able to innovate across all these businesses, is really knowing what are your brilliant basics and what are your signature elements that you want to really do. What we did in this business, which we'd never done in the other companies, was we actually mapped a crew journey underneath that as well. So we had the sailor experience, and then we had all of the crew touch points along the way that would facilitate all the things we wanted to do for the sailor. We were very purposeful, but I did this one, and Michelle's done a lot of customer journey work. I think we were very purposeful here in really mapping out what the crew experience had to be and what the crew elements had to be to facilitate that. And I think what you're seeing in the product, and why the product is, I'm biased, but I think it's pretty good, is that was a very thoughtful, very purposeful way we built it from scratch, so that all the systems were built, all the crew environments were built, all with the sailor experience in mind, and so the two things work hand in hand. And that was always a part of it. When we identified a lot of the pain points, there's another big thing that Richard focused on, is like, what are the pain points we're trying to solve for? We were trying to solve for lines. We didn't get that one yet. We're trying to solve for lines, we're trying to solve for making sure that the ship didn't feel like a big giant ship and full of mass, so the idea of not having a main dining room and going to nothing but smaller specialty restaurants was a key part of that. We were solving for things to do with service, how to make sure that our crew could be themselves. Our F&B experience is probably one of the standout experiences, and that had its own process. I'm very proud of that, but one of the things we talked about in F&B was a lot of traditional F&B experiences on very big cruise ships or hotels. They're all the same. They're all some version of, I'm going to give you a different cuisine, so it's going to be a 3-course meal, it's going to have similar meal time, very similar service style, and we're just going to change the cuisine. And we said, well, actually it should be a different experience. It's not just the cuisine, so let's have one that feels like more fine dining. So we have the test kitchen, we have the wake. Let's have some that feel a bit more casual elevated, like Extra Virgin or Pink Agave, right? And let's have one that's just a little bit fun and crazy and a little bit different, so that gives you a perspective. And then we hired people into those restaurants based on their attitude. We trained them to do the job there. So if you're in Razzle Dazzle, the servers and staff in Razzle Dazzle are just a little bit more eccentric, right? If you're in the wake or in test kitchen, they're all more refined. You probably, now that you heard that, you actually notice it when you see it. So we actually hire for the personalities. And that was part of this sort of overall journey work that we did, because you build an experience in layers. And that, starting with that bottom layer and layering in all those elements, I think is what made the experience great. And I think the other part that we were very focused on was the crew part of it, because we knew that the crew part was so important, because the reality is, we can dream up all these big ideas. These are ships that operate on their own out in the middle of the ocean, far away from any of us. And so we had to make sure that we built a culture that could sustain itself. And so in that thing, we were very, very focused on making sure that we took care of the crew. And so we had lots of debates with finance folks about, what should the crew experience be? And we were very, very focused on making sure that the crew had access to Wi-Fi, access to better food, access to coffees and teas. We do a lot of things with the crew. Most crew will, in other cruise lines, they'll pay for their uniforms themselves. They'll pay for their travel themselves. They'll pay for their pre-employment medical themselves. And we said, that's not the way to do it. The crew are the most important part of this. We need to have them shine. Our job is to make them shine, so how can we invest in our crew? And I think what you see when you come on board, there's a unique feeling of stepping on board these ships. From day one, actually, there's been a unique feeling, which then feeds into the sailor experience. I do believe it comes from that crew experience we've been able to create, and making sure that our crew feels seen and feel heard. And I talked about that hierarchical thing we talked about before. Ships historically have been very hierarchical. And we didn't want that, because actually, safety is a very big thing in an environment like this. And one of the things I talk a lot about is safety is actually people being able to have a voice. Because the reality is the people that are on the front lines are the ones that actually see what's going on. It's you to make sure those people feel comfortable speaking up. And I think that's one thing here at Virgin. I'm sure everyone feels very comfortable speaking up. They feel very comfortable being themselves. A lot of crew members will say to me, I've been to this brand, I love this brand, but one of the reasons I love this brand is, compensation is one thing, benefits is one thing, but ultimately, I get to be myself, and I feel seen, and I feel heard here. And that's a wonderful thing in terms of developing the sailor experience, but it's actually the backbone of creating a safety culture and a safety environment on board as well, because people feel happy to speak up. You know, our captain and our leadership, they don't wear stripes, and you know, they're comfortable with it, because at the end of the day, you know, Captain Niksha or General Manager Camille, I mean, there are leaders not because of the fact that they have stripes on their shoulders, there are leaders because of the way they carry themselves, the influence they have, and the impact they have on people. We don't need to put stripes on them for them to be a good captain. I mean, obviously I need to know that Niksha can drive a ship, but that's more to being a captain than be able to drive a ship.
It's very helpful, right? That you
can. But that I think is the foundation of it. So it was a very long answer to your question there, but it was, how do we make sure that we get the crew piece right? Because we get the crew piece right, everything flows downhill from there was a big focus. And you know, I think we're on a journey to do that. I mean, there's always things we can improve. There's always things we're looking to do better with our crew. But I do believe that we have, you know, we're very committed to making sure they are treated well and they feel seen and heard, and I think everything flows downhill from there.
It's interesting as well, because Michelle, background stories, I'm taking you right back to the vaults. In the very early days when you start a company and there's a small team, you end up doing a lot of different roles. You're going to laugh when I tell you this. I used to be head of people and culture. I know, why did no one decide that? I think we were just trying to save some money, Nirmal said back then. Then Michelle basically came along and organised it all and got shit working properly. Michelle, I think interestingly, because you worked at Disney and Bank of America, how did you, as a non-Virgin person, think about this culture when you first got here and helping bring that to life?
I think the biggest thing, and you touched on it a bit, Nirmal, was we weren't trying to create this standard, if you will. Meaning, from a Disney perspective, and I'm proud of my years there and the product that they deliver, so it's not a knock to them, but it was a standard, and you created a standard, and it didn't matter which ship you were on or which itinerary you were on, it should feel the same. It should always be the same. But the reality and the freedom of that coming into Virgin, because you lean to that. No, it doesn't matter where you go, but you lean to what it is that you know, and the ability, and you've said it, where crew members get to be themselves. And when you embrace the fact that your crew, and you get to come to work and bring who you are and embrace your individuality, what that actually did was create a unique environment on each ship that is generated. Like, it starts and grows from the crew members, the 1,100 crew members that are on board that ship. And if you have sailed on our different ships and done different itineraries, hopefully you'll agree, is that it doesn't feel the same on every ship. You'll notice that there is a different vibe, and that to me is based on what comes from the crew that feeds the sailors, that allows them to then be themselves. And the notion that every cruise line has steel, we all have restaurants, we've got to feed you, there's entertainment, there's crew, there's itineraries, there's great places we take you to. But for us, part of that promise is that when you weave those things together, when our crew weave those things together, you walk off, hopefully, with the feeling that this was a unique experience. Not just that you went to great places, not that you just had great meals, the service was phenomenal, but you leave because that these 4, 5, 7, 14 days has evoked something unique within, that's been encapsulated into the time you get on to the time you get off, and that's fed by the crew. So for me, I think the most enlightening part of it was the freedom that we weren't trying to create, that there was a standard, that everybody had to be scripted, everybody had to say the same things, everybody had to do the same things, that the way that they interacted, our crew members interact with you, is scripted so that it's consistent across every board. And that freedom for our crew to really be themselves and embrace their individuality and really create an authenticity, which I believe feeds to our sailors doing the same. It just creates this like an organic energy that is different on every one of our itineraries and ships and vessels and voyages.
Thank you. I do have to say to the captain, I know, like, I've seen the joystick up in the bridge. I don't know if it's that hard, is it really?
Yeah.
Every time they bring the ship in, because I live nearby and I can see it coming in, I'm going, it's a hard thing to park, and I am not good at reverse parking. So I'm always hopeful the cameras are good enough that you can see how you sort of get back in, basically. Look, we have lots of folks who've sailed with it. People have sailed before. Can you put your hand up if you've sailed with us a few times? Oh my God, you. Nirmal and Michelle will be outside hugging you as you leave.
They love us.
Thank you.
They love us. They really love us.
Oh, I remember that speech. Actually, by the way, just because we talk a little bit about the craziness of the world, if you want to avoid the US on November 5th because the world's crazy, I've got a transatlantic I can sell you on. You can hide for 14 days. Got a little bit of space left. I'll get you a little bit of a bar tab.
I'll take it.
The Wi-Fi's great.
Wi-Fi's great. Well, is there Wi-Fi in the middle of the ocean?
A lot of drinks.
Like way out there? Okay. Anyway, Nirmal, for our lovely loyalty sailors who sail with us, I'm probably not going to have a job after this, am I? This is why they never let me out, seriously. Never let me out. For our lovely loyalty sailors, do you have anything you'd like to reveal for them about what's happening in the world of loyalty?
I thought we were not allowed to talk about this right
That's
now.
exactly why I asked the question. To put you in a very awkward position. And just to be clear, it's coffee, nothing else.
That was a very direct question about something we're not supposed to talk about. Aren't you supposed to ask it like kind of an obtuse way? Like,
No, see, the other thing is because I'm responsible for marketing and messaging, and he goes, "What can I talk about?" I'm going, "You cannot talk about this." And then I asked the question, and he says, "I wanted to see if he would fall for it," and he didn't.
so it's like training on the go. You're trying to,
I'm training on the go.
You're trying to media
These
train
people
me?
get it.
Yeah. Okay. No.
Real-time feedback.
Well, Nathan, I'm so glad you asked that question. Actually.
I actually want to see how we can deflect Michelle, see how the training went.
Well, thank you for asking that question, Richard.
my
I
pleasure,
really
Noel.
appreciate it, and I'm so glad you asked, because I know it's on everyone's mind, and it's a question that everyone wants to know the answer to. Like, what is going on with loyalty? And it's a question that we're going to have to leave a little weirdly unanswered right now.
I feel like we really are in an interview with CNN.
The spill of the tea is there is something being cooked up in loyalty, but we have a certain founder who's very proud of what we're coming up with, and he would like to disclose that when he's here. So
I would love to go, "Oh, sorry, Richard, you can't announce it because Nirmal's already told him."
yeah, so I'm not gonna put my
You
foot
may as well
in
not
that
come,
one.
Richard. We got it covered.
No, I'm not going to put my foot in that one. So when Richard is here, when he's arriving tomorrow, he has some news to share. But I do think it's important for everyone to know that we are part of a global brand. Look, one of the reasons you're all here, one of the reasons our crew is here, is that this is an amazing group of companies all around the world, and they need to be more interconnected. And we've been working on some plans to do that. So Richard will be announcing some enhancements to the loyalty program. And we're also thinking generally about how we can enhance the loyalty program. We do know that it's something you're asking for. We do know something it's much overdue. We're now getting around to it. We had to get all the ships up and running, get them all stable. But we do agree that it's something much needed, and it'll be coming real soon.
I thought that's quite a good answer, actually.
He danced really well.
Good work,
Hey,
Michelle.
I said he danced really well. By the way, we've seen that a lot. Because when you ask him a direct question at the office, and he wouldn't think about, and he doesn't want to answer it, that's what we get. What you just saw, that's what we get.
So, I don't know, did anyone watch the brilliant announcement video? A couple of you?
Yes.
You might have
Yeah.
seen Michelle and
What's your
Nirmal
favorite
there.
part of it?
It was you, for sure.
Sorry, what? Oh, hang on, someone said a name. What was that?
You, for sure.
No, if you actually were still watching by the end of the video and you did see me, why did you stay watching that long? That all the good news. Okay, that's an exciting thing next year happening, basically. I think you dressed up for the crew event in Alaskan gear. And I guess why and when is Alaska to be announced and ready for people? Because we have thousands of placeholders people put down their way to know Michelle.
Yep.
We do. You love us. You really love us. We had thousands of people put a deposit, a placeholder. Front tier of the line, I might ask.
That was a Nathan thing.
That was
Clever. Who came up with that?
I know.
Nathan is the king of puns, by the way, if you all don't know. If you ever see a funny billboard or
Okay,
a pun,
first of all, why do Americans not get puns? Like, literally, if you live in
I
Australia
have
or
one for
England,
you.
it's fantastic.
I have one for you, actually. I was talking to one of the sailors yesterday, because you're right, I do like to talk to sailors.
Everybody.
I like to talk to crew, but sailors only talk to me. So, okay, new billboard.
Sorry, this is their idea?
Well, yeah.
Hang on,
but
let me put on my
I-
sailor feedback face.
Yeah, well, okay, we'll see what they want to fix. There should be a billboard that says hammock time.
Hammock time.
Yeah,
Actually,
like
that's quite
hammock
good.
time.
Yeah, I get it. Did everyone else get it?
I'm sorry.
The crowd voted no.
Crowd voted no? Oh, okay.
We have a billboard in South Florida right now that says Wi-Fi charges equal WTF. Have you seen that one?
I have.
I didn't tell the CEO before that went live.
Can you rewind that, scratch it, don't play it, because our legal team's not here, we'll have to.
Oh, right, sorry.
We're not doing that.
No, we're not doing that.
That's why she's the COO.
Actually, so, is Lena in the room? Lena, where are you? How long are we allowed to talk for before we do real questions from real people? Okay, so we'll do a little more of this, so don't go anywhere yet, and then we'll do some questions. I'm going to Phil Donahue the crowd, basically. Alaska, and then you do Alaska first, and then Nirmal, I want to ask you what you're excited about with itineraries and what's coming up.
Okay, thousands of people, thank you very much, gave us money as a placeholder. Do you want to have the first opportunity when we open them? And you don't even know where you're going. That was like the best part. We didn't even.
In fact, you didn't go to Alaska.
We are almost ready. So we're in the final stages of confirming with each of the ports to the amazing destinations that we're going to get to. So I would probably say October, end of October, beginning of November. We want to confidently be going out with confirmed ports. So we're almost there. I'm really excited. So Alaska's my happy place. Always has been. Long before I got to open up those itineraries. So the fact that we're able to bring our vessels, bring our crew, bring our sailors to that part of the world, it's pristine, and there's something magical that just suits us and who we are to be able to go there.
Fun fact about Michelle, who did yoga this morning. Was anyone at the yoga with Michelle? Oh,
all four
she likes extreme exercise. So I'm like the Matthew McConaughey of Virgin Voyages, just good looking generally. But Michelle runs, like, she literally on a holiday recently, we said, oh, what are you doing, Michelle? She goes, I'm hiking up to Switzerland from Austria. I'm like, sorry, what? It's like 1,000 miles. And there she goes.
Oh, ice climbing. She went ice climbing.
Yeah, ice climbing, as you do, right? Nirmal, in the world of itineraries, because obviously we get a lot of questions about what's coming, what's happening, and what are you excited about in itineraries?
Well, I think Alaska's going to be interesting. But we actually heard a lot from a lot of the loyalty sailors that they wanted a more diverse itinerary mix. I think when the brand started, there were a lot of short itineraries, typically 4 and 5 itineraries from Miami. But a lot of the feedback was, we love the brand, we love being on the ships, can we get some more interesting itineraries? And so as you've probably seen, we've started now layering in more interesting itineraries, more interesting destinations, some slightly longer variations of itineraries. In the Med next year, we've got some 10s, 11 nights. We've got new ports like Casablanca and a few other very interesting ports coming in. In the Caribbean, we're also layering in some longer itineraries. Brilliant will be doing some long itineraries from Miami to get into the Southern Caribbean, because people actually really want to be on the ships, but they want the long itineraries. So one of the big changes we're making is actually introducing a lot of these longer itineraries. We're also introducing a lot more one-off iconic voyages. One of the things we saw when we opened up the Panama Canal, that there are these sort of iconic places that people go that people love being on the brand with. And Panama Canal, was real demand for it. So we opened up, what we're starting now is a series of marvelous voyages. We've opened up the first set. Right now there's an eclipse voyage from Iceland.
Sorry, a what voyage?
Yeah, it's a total eclipse of the sun.
Okay, that's funny-ish. Total eclipse of the sun. Actually, that's an idea. We should get Bonnie Tyler on board. Anyways.
Yeah, so, yeah. He never likes my ideas, by the way. He always, every time I crack a joke with him, he's like, well, that was not very good. He's like Devil Wears Prada. What's Meredith in Devil Wears Prada? It's like impossible to please him.
It's true. It's a little bit true, actually.
Yeah. Actually, the first ever talk I had to do, like 7 or 8 years ago, he made me do this big food and beverage reveal to all this media. So we were in a room with all this media and to do like a TED-style talk of all the things. And so I was doing along, and he was sitting kind of right where like this gentleman in the green shirt is. He was right there. And if you could help me, sir, so he was like this. Just staring at me like this. And so when you're kind of talking, right, you kind of look around for like friendly faces and like, hey, can you smile? Like, keep going. And like the whole time for like 45 minutes, I'm like, am I doing bad or doing good? I have no idea. And they probably want to make me work harder. So
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Treat them mean, keep them keen.
Anyway,
back onto the eclipse voyage, Nirmal.
So we have the marvelous voyages, which again people are really interested. So there'll be sort of this set of iconic voyages, longer voyages, new destinations, and then taking brilliant all around America, voyages out of New York, voyages out of LA, voyages out of, I didn't spill the beans, to Alaska from a certain place. That'll, I think, be a really interesting part of what people are looking for. People are also looking for some variations on some of the product experience on board. I mean, they love everything we do, but I do think you're right in that we need to update some of the products. So you're going to see us start to think about food and beverage. I think we, obviously we have a really great food and beverage team. So how do we start to provide more variety in the food and beverage offerings? We did start, someone told me yesterday, I said, we're going to do that. I said, well, there was a new soup in pink agave. So everyone really liked it, apparently. Is that going to be good enough for the brand team?
We'll see.
So anyway,
very judgy.
So more food and beverage, more entertainment. Entertainment was something we heard loud and clear from you, that you wanted more live music, you wanted more variety. So we're layering a lot more of that. The live music is very popular. Plan V has been very popular. I knew the band that's on here is a very good band. So yeah, so several people dancing on it last night.
You like them?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you up there dancing last night because somebody was cutting the rug and I'm going, whoop!
Oh wow, yes. So a lot more live music. So you're just going to see us start to really enhance the product and evolve the product, because that's based on your feedback. That's the thing to do. So itineraries, food and beverage, entertainment. Very committed to the product. I'd say for me, and as I have discussions with our board, have discussions with Richard, the world is a kind of interesting place right now, in that a lot of brands, particularly travel brands, are looking to charge a lot more, but they're also looking to cut costs everywhere. I mean, that's such a big theme right now. And consumers now, I think, are really starting to push back on that. And consumers are saying, I want to have value. So if I want to know that I'm getting value for money, and, quit nickel and diming me, and quit cutting costs, and quit taking things away. We at Virgin have always had a philosophy of, we need to give people more, and actually that's how you create a sustainable business, not by cost cutting and having a very myopic focus on profitability. And so, while profitability is obviously important, you can get there by actually being a much more value-added brand. So one of the things I want to make sure we're always focused on is not nickel and diming our sailors, not nickel and diming our crew, always adding added value where we can. And that's always been a Virgin philosophy and Virgin principle, and hopefully you'll see that from us as we start to evolve and as the company continues to mature. There is a real resolute focus on making sure we maintain that value for money, maintain the product offering, maintain the quality, and don't start looking to do all these very myopic, short-term focused things where you start to cut costs just for the sake of it.
Anyway, we can bring the house lights up. We're going to do the Q&As. I think we have some lovely helpers, but I've got a little quick fire for both of you before we do that. Michelle, over here. Ready? Oh. We're going to let the audience ask questions if they want to ask questions. Oh. Yeah, but they're going to bring, I think Lena was going to run with you. Oh, that looks amazing. You're a good looking crowd. Okay, little quick fire for both of you before we actually throw to the crowd. All right, you ready? Favorite restaurant on board?
Horizon.
Extra Virgin.
Yeah.
Favorite space to hang out?
The dock.
The dock.
Look at, you get to go first.
There's 48 public spaces. You had to choose the same one? Have they never seen the Shipmate?
Maybe it's the why. Why the dock for you?
The shrimp.
I love that you turn it into food, where I'm like just relaxing by the ocean. I like to eat. Okay.
The crew.
Okay. Favorite show? Or
Easy. Duel. My hands down.
Mine too.
Okay, Persephone. All right, Persephone. It's not on the show.
Oh, yes.
Actually,
I love
funny
that
little
show.
story about Nirmal. Was it Jen? Is she from Resilient? Brilliant. I'm trying to remember where you did that karaoke session. You literally ran onto her
Brilliant.
board. I mean, because Nirmal quite often goes and spends time on the ships with the crew, and one of the crew members on here, after seeing him on Brilliant, where they spent a night singing karaoke, he's like, we're going to have to regroup. So I'm trying to book Nirmal for a karaoke session with Jen, one of our crew members, if you'd like to join at midnight tonight.
I'll let you see Jen. Yeah, Jen's a quick service attendant up in the galley, so have a look for her. So yeah,
Did you sing though?
I sang Taylor Swift.
But which one, Nirmal? That's the question.
I have a 14-year-old daughter. You can't not sing Taylor Swift.
Okay, the last question. Favorite itinerary coming up in the future?
Iceland. I've never been to Iceland. I think next year, I know next year there's a 10-night London, Norway, Scotland, 3 stops in Iceland.
Sounds perfect for an MLEV if you've got one.
I know. No, my favorite
for that one.
itinerary is already open.
What's that?
It's the Adriatic Gems.
Okay.
Like we have, I don't know if you haven't been on the Adriatic. It's a 7-night. It's just a remarkable itinerary, and I don't think that most Americans know about the area. It's Montenegro. It's Croatia. It's just stunning, and to me, it's a hidden little gem that most Americans, Greek Isles, and don't get me wrong, those itineraries are great. Santorini, check it off the list, Mykonos. But stay another 7 days and do the Adriatic. Hands down, our best itinerary.
Agreed.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. All right, let's do some, is the microphone team people in the crowd? Oh, there we go. Anyone got a question you can raise? Oh, goodness me, there's quite a few actually. Hard questions to Nirmal, easy ones to Michelle and I. If you could just tell us your name as well, that'd be lovely, because we always like to know who we're talking to.
I'm Stephen from South Florida. We've been on, this is the 5th sailing.
Hello, Stephen from SoFlo.
On Virgin ships, and we've been on lots of cruises. We love this show, Never Sleep Alone. We're gonna have that again.
Yep.
Sleep Alone. We're gonna have that again.
Yes.
Yes, no, Never Sleep Alone.
So Never Sleep Alone, I do agree with you, that was a great show, and I think it was a very clever show, and I loved seeing that show. I'd always go to watch it, because every show was different, so I loved it. So what we're trying to move to is an entertainment program that's more seasonal, because again, people have asked for more variety. So what we're moving to is that a lot of the shows, apart from the big production shows, will move into more seasonal variations, and so as we retired Never Sleep Alone, we brought in more comedy, in a different way. We brought in some live music, we added dinner shows, and all things. So it's something that we're definitely looking at bringing back at some point, but we've got to work out what the right point is. I would say that one of the reasons why we went to more comedies, we got a lot of feedback that people wanted more comedy, more music, so we layered that in. I will say one of the things we did was that you've heard us talk a lot about, the vibe and the energy of this ship, and one of the things that we have struggled with a lot is how to market this product and how to tell the world what it is, because how do you tell people there's a different vibe and a different energy on board these ships? It's just really hard to communicate, and despite, this crack marketing genius that I have sitting on my right-hand side, he's not been able to work it out, so I don't know whether it's him or whether it's just a hard thing to work out.
Exactly what he said.
No, but it is a very hard thing, and I'm sure you appreciate, right? When you go back after experiences and you tell your friends about it, you start talking about things that are much less tangible, but they're more software, right? And actually, it's one of the big things that, with us as a company, traditionally our industry has tended to compete on the basis of hardware. The biggest ship, the fastest water slide, a robot bar, whatever it is, right? And they're fantastic products, and this industry is a fantastic industry, and we have fantastic players in this industry who do it very well. But when you're not trying to compete on hardware, you're trying to compete on software, it's a much harder message to market and get across to people, because till people experience it, it's hard to get it, right? And I'm sure all of you that are loyal sailors, you get it, right? But when you talk to your friends about it, it's probably hard to say, well, why is it different? Well, it's just different. Like, I felt different, and the food's really good, and the service is really good, and people don't quite believe you to do it. So we've always struggled with that. Now, one of the things that would Never Sleep Alone was that, when we launched the brand, we made some missteps in how we communicate the product, because we were trying to work out how best to tell the story. And as we told that story initially, what was coming across to people, what people were interpreting, was they were really focusing on the real points of difference that were smaller parts of the experience, and basically saying that that's what Virgin Voyages was. So Virgin Voyages had a tattoo parlor, Virgin Voyages had our comedy show. And so as you tried to explain the story, it was very easy for media, for people who were reading about us to gravitate more towards those things, when the reality is they're a very small part of the experience, and they're not exactly emblematic of the whole experience. So like Dual Reality, for example, as a show, is an award-winning, fantastic show. We would rather people talk about Dual Reality rather than talk about just the one comedy show that we do. And what we were also finding was that people were a bit worried about trying Virgin Voyages, because they were worried that would it be too risque for them, would it be too out there for them? And I'm sure some of you have heard that too, right? As you've told your friends about us, they said, oh, I'm just not sure it's for me, it's a little bit out there, right? And so, so one of the things as we thought about, as we try to expand the brand and accelerate our demand base, we need to make sure that we weren't giving people an excuse to say no, because that's really what it was an excuse to say no, because it was kind of a lazy excuse. It was a lazy article for a media person to write. I used to tell Michelle Estedam, it's like the lazy journalist that writes about those things without really talking about the real things behind the experience. And so we want to make sure that we're trying to dial in all the different parts of the experience so that we don't get people to focus on smaller parts that define the bigger parts of it. But I do think it's a fantastic show, and I think that all the loyal sailors love it, and we do need to find a way to bring it back into the rotation at some point, but we had to be a bit purposeful about how we thought about marketing the brand, which, just to be very honest with you, I mean, I can give you the corporate spiel of it's in the seasonal rotation, but it was one of those things that I think was allowing a misperception to develop about the brand that's not the reality of the brand.
Don't worry, he's got 4 ships to fill now. He has to find other ways to put it.
That was we don't
It was great, just long. That was all. All right, next question, please. Oh, down here, I think we've got lots of hands over here, Lena. I could Phil Donahue it for a second.
Hi, I'm Susie. I'm from Pittsburgh.
Hello.
And I'm a virgin on Virgin.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Nice to see you. Did you just say that? This is what he was talking about.
Take a number.
You might be my neighbor.
I really love, like, I'm on vacation, I want a vacation, I want to, like, escape from my reality at home, etc. But I also want to ask about your community give back. And we're going to be doing an excursion that's going into the community of Puerto Plata, that word, that I haven't been able to pronounce since we booked. But, and can you just tell me about how you incorporated that into the cruising experience?
You know, it's actually a big thing. We should have touched on it before, because everything comes down to back to purpose. And so, you know, when Nathan talked about the beginning of the company, we set a foundation on all those journeys we talked about. I probably gave you an answer that was too tactical. The vision was actually creating an epic sea change for all. And that's the purpose behind everything we do. Virgin as a company has a mission to change business for good. Our interpretation of that is an epic sea change for all. And as part of that, people and planet is one of them, but the communities we visit is an important part of it. And one of the ambitions we have is to make sure that we are the ship that people like to see show up in port, not the ship that people don't look out for port. So Michelle's team actually runs a whole host of programs to do that. Actually, Sarah, who's on board somewhere, is actually doing a bunch of programs on impact right now. But do you want to just quickly touch on some of the things we do?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say at 12 o'clock, right here in this room.
That's right.
We have Leading with Purpose, and several of the Virgin brands will be here talking exactly about that, and what drives us and what is at the heart of everything we do. And Nirmal touched on the number one for us is an epic sea change for all, and that's, you know, easy to say. It's, you know, very grandiose, but it really comes down to what does that actually mean. And when we think of the pillars that we stand by, and crew, our sailor experience, our crew experience, communities, ocean. You know, we got to think about from an ocean, and then finally the partners, our partners who deliver it. So we look at each one of those 5 and say, how are we going to make a difference in each one of those areas, and what can we do, and how are we going to make sure that it's not just a really great sailor experience, but people want to see the ship come into port. Partners actually want to work with us. The communities that we go to feel like we are making a difference and we are additive rather than taking away from their time. So come on in later and we'll chat about that in depth.
I'm glad you asked, because it's a fundamental part of everything we do. Those journeys I talked about, underpinning all that was epic sea change.
Just to be clear, I didn't forget to bring it into the session. It's actually sessions about it. So I don't need feedback from these two that I wasn't talking about purpose. Do all the good you can as often as you can for all the people you can, basically. I think we have a question right here. So.
Hi, David from the Washington, D.C. area. Love the cruise line. My husband and I are celebrating our 24th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We're already booked on our 3rd and 4th cruises in the next half a year.
Thank
on
you
Virgin.
again.
We used to do the gay cruises. We found that Virgin is the gayest straight cruise line possible. Love it, love it, love it. There's a couple of things. Piano bar. Is there any way to get a piano bar on this cruise? Or any of your cruises? It's like a real one with Broadway songs.
Yeah, it's a good question. I actually think it's a very good thought. We need to work out how to do that. I agree.
It would be amazing.
I need the one that like plays
we drink lots of booze, you know?
Yeah. You need the one that just like plays the music so you can pretend you're playing it.
No. Let the singer sing it and you just put requests in for Broadway or whatever.
No, I agree with you. We've actually been trying to work out how to activate the dock a little more. I think there might be something in the dock we can do. But yeah, I 100%.
We have one on Scarlet.
We had one, yeah.
Yeah, we did. You took the piano away too.
Survey, end of voyage survey.
Okay, whoa.
Your
I
car
did
is
that.
matter.
I did that.
I think it's a great idea. Well, we're going to work on it.
Second thing, your call center, not cool.
Oh,
That's Michelle.
No, wait. I'm old school. I don't like Facebook. I don't like emails. I want a person on the other line that can resolve issues like that. That's just a
that
suggestion.
just hurt. It's like a.
Sorry, I'm being
I
honest.
know, but I want to chat afterwards.
Third item, your app. When it comes to that midnight, it's 45 days before a cruise. We can sit there till 3 in the morning. Failed. Servers. I was an IT guy. Servers. Thank you.
First,
Yeah, this is, remember
Love you,
earlier,
Nathan.
when we said, or I had said, when it goes wrong, it's not because we don't give a shit. We do. No. I just want to start with that, just as a reminder. And it's okay when we don't always get it right. And we know the app. And we know the dining process is not somewhere where we're getting it right. Quite frankly, when we mapped out that journey, we actually believed that more of our sailors would be walk up. Well, we learned along the way too. We believe that more of our sailors would want to walk up and make their reservations in the moment, and they would flow with. And I don't want to pick 45 days out that I'm eating at this restaurant at 7 p.m. I want to wait till I'm on board. What we've learned along the way is that there's far more planners out there than what we had anticipated who would be our ideal sailor. Learned along the way is that there's far more planners out there than what we had anticipated who would be our ideal sailor. So we are working to change that, and there's some tweaks coming.
We totally understand you on the app, and I get it. It's frustration for me too. We are working on cleaning up the app. There's some stability issues with the app. There's some UI changes we need to do. There's a lot of... Yeah, we can get you with Andy. And Andy was actually the CIO at Disney, so he's got a very good sense of what has to happen. He was the one that developed the Magic Band at Disney, which is why we have this. We hear you. So hopefully soon you're going to have a new version. We are working on a new version of it that hopefully will fix a lot of the issues that we're aware of. I hear you on dining, by the way. You are 100% right. Our dining program for some feels like the Hunger Games.
Literally the Hunger Games, actually, because you won't pretend to people why they pretend to go hungry.
Reference.
But we need to fix that too. So we are working on how to retweak that. Some of that is some systems changes we have to make. I'll just give you very tactical examples, sir, just because you're in the detail. When we have big groups, sometimes, so big groups hold dining spots, but they're also able to hold dining spots in the app. So your group leader might be holding a table of 10, but the app allows you as an individual in that group to go book a reservation as well. So it looks like there aren't enough seats, but in reality there's plenty of seats. I'm sure even last night, if you walked around, restaurants that are supposed to be full have plenty of seats available because the configurations aren't set up correctly. So there's a lot of stuff we have to work in the background. So we're fully aware of it, and we are working very, very hard to fix it. I fully appreciate and agree and feel the frustration around the app and the dining program.
In fact, our CTO has on his, as he's doing this new work, and it will be hopefully really cool. It's like not CR app, not crap. Right?
That's the goal. That's the goal.
And it's on a shirt that Andy produced, basically.
I think that we'll have our so don't tell me that your inside knowledge here. We should have our beta version of a new app by the end of year. And then launch that, because at that point, I think addresses some of the stability issues, some of the infrastructure challenges that we had to change, and then some of the flow, specifically around dining.
So, unfortunately, Lena, who's our head of experience, has got a program, and she's literally texting me saying, "You are 7 minutes over time, Nathan." So we're going to wrap up. I think on behalf of the three of us, first of all, thank you very much for sailing. We hope you enjoyed the celebration. If you have any questions, please hit up Michelle and Nirmal as you see them walking around the ship. I will be in a different outfit so you won't recognize me. And thirdly, I would say, just remember, no photos with Nirmal, make him feel unpopular. I don't even know who you are, what are you doing here? But no, again, we know one thing is true. Without our crew and without you, this business could not be everything it is today. But you have made us very proud and very grateful, and we are thankful to you, but we are also really excited about what we're going to keep doing to innovate, because Virgin at its heart is a brand that drives innovation and experience. And when you see Richard, you will see the passion he has for this company, because he loves talking to sailors, and you may play chess with him, but we can't wait to sort of show you what's coming next, because we've only just gotten started. Thank you very much.
Thank you.